Okay, welcome back. We had London. You had your appetizer, your fish, your chips. We're going to head back to BetMGM and do everything that we need. Look at that field down there, all right? How did it go for you? All right, your London experience. Did you enjoy it? We had a lot to talk about, mainly one-sided as the St. Louis Cardinals just don't feel interested or look interested in playing baseball, at least not over there. Did somebody tell them that like everybody's going to be watching in London and England, like the entire state, the entire area? Does anybody did anybody say, hey, you might want to just do something? Do something. Likes, leans, locks. This is essentially just turned into what I like. All right. And it's all locks from here because I'm giving you one play. We're moving the clock as fast as we can here. All right. Think of it like a 13.5, 14 and 14, something along those lines. Now, I'm going to tell you one time, 70% off your first month below. 70% off the Odd Shopper Premium tool. It's what we all use. It's less than a cup of coffee a day. Yeah, jump in. Jump in. First play of the game. It's going to be under 11.5. Under 11.5. Look, the pitching matchup doesn't change the fact that St. Louis right now is just lifeless at the plate. And they also, by the way, have a pitcher who is horrific stepping to the mound this morning when you're watching this. 10:10 a.m. This does not feel like London football, although it does feel like the pre-Doug Peterson Jaguars are over there. Don't you dare say Jaguars either. Get out of this. Get out. If you say Jaguars, just get out. St. Louis under 11.5 runs. What more can I say? Chicago's going to score 8, 9 runs. Okay, maybe you get one from St. Louis. Don't expect this 15, 16, 20 run affair like people thought was going to happen in Mexico. And I was one of them, but I also thought St. Louis would show up. They did not. We move on. Minnesota's at Detroit. Okay, here, a little interesting, right? Now it gets into, okay, you've got this noon o'clock Eastern start here. And unlike the St. Louis-Chicago game in London, this one actually does favor somewhat of a pitching matchup. Somewhat. There's also just growing ineptitude at the plate for both of these teams. So there's going to be some value in Michael Lorenzen and Bailey Ober just doing enough. And look, Bailey Ober does not struggle. Lorenzen doesn't strike people out, but he doesn't struggle elsewhere. So I don't think we look at this like, oh my goodness, you've got two guys that are getting victimized by opposing hitting. In fact, it's probably going to be the other side, at least for enough of this game, where if you do have an explosive inning, it's not going to ruin your night. Under 8.5. Let's lock it up. Seattle's in Baltimore. Okay. What can we pull from here? Kyle Bradish, George Kirby. That's a big thing for us. Baltimore's going to have a little bit more, I think, of an advantage, but slightly. Problem with Kirby is that he just doesn't walk anybody. So if you're Baltimore, you really need to buy time. But this is kind of the juxtaposition of a George Kirby start. You don't have to worry at all about anybody walking, but if there is some contact, you get out of this jam here, you're trying to pitch into a double play or you're just trying to get fly ball to end the inning, you get into some trouble. Baltimore savvy enough where I think they can jump on that. The other side of this is Bradish, like you don't have much to really scoff at, except there is a shade of what I laid out with Kirby on the other side pitching to contact here. Once again, though, I think we're in good shape. If I were, what I would say to you is this. Take the spread right now. Baltimore. It's a great parlay piece. Baltimore on the run line. Fantastic parlay piece, but it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. All right. Now, Rangers, I'm just saying, Taking Baltimore on the run line at minus 160. I would not take them on the money line. I would rather them on the run line there. Texas, New York. What can we extrapolate? Look at that, 7.5. Nathan Eovaldi, Garrett Cole. It makes sense. Can you stay under 8 runs? That's the big question here. I don't think it's a matter of who wins. Without Aaron Judge, this team is just way too volatile to bet on to do something. Doesn't mean that they can't win. It's just a matter of how volatile things are. Texas, I don't anticipate them being held back like we've seen. So now you do have Corey Seager. You've got some guys up there that are just itching to turn this around. Garrett Cole is going to be the problem here. And look, the same thing for Eovaldi. Do we really need to push this? The Yankees are without Judge. That definitely feeds into what's going on with Eovaldi pitching exceptionally well. The 25 to 5.4 K to walk rate, 26.5 to 7.5 for Cole. I mean, my goodness. 237 X batting average for Cole. 230. It's even worse for opposing hitters for Eovaldi. Yeah, I think we're safe here. Under 7.5 runs for that Rangers-Yankees game. Let's not even think twice about that. Mets-Phils. Now, weather. It should start to pour before this game, or right around this game starting. So I would use that. You're not going to be able to bet it right now, but I would use that to go under. It's probably going to be, well, it's going to be one of the two, but I would do that to go under Carrasco's case. I just think you're going to see a really strong shot of a rain delay. I don't want to tempt Zach Wheeler because Wheeler can hit his quota in an inning or two. And all of a sudden there, I mean, it's probably going to be, a higher number, so it's not an inning. But my point being is that he can dominate. And if it's 3 innings of work, oh, my goodness, why tempt fate versus Carrasco ain't hitting his K-prop in 3 innings, especially with that 14 to 10 K to walk rate. My God, that's awful. Awful. Guys are hitting him left and right on both sides of the plate. And Zach Wheeler's numbers are stupendous. Exceptional. And I think that's worth right here a play and then some. But I also don't think the Phillies, as you've seen, are still in, like they slowed down a little bit. Maybe it is the weather weighing down on them. I don't know. But their offense has slowed down a little bit. There's concern about Bryce Harper's lack of power. Zach Wheeler controls the tempo of this game, and this tempo stays under 9. We have a push and play here on BetMGM. We don't bet for that, but it's nice with a round number there. A whole number, I should say, there. Under 9 with Zach Wheeler doing a lot. And look, Carrasco has been brutal, but I just don't think the Phillies today, 1:35 Eastern on a Sunday, it's not hitting season today. Not with that rain coming. Things will slow down, and that'll impact the game as a whole. To Toronto we go. All right, Oakland A's in town here. Now, we do have a play. I just want you to know that you can shop, and you should shop. What we do is all about the shop material here, right? We want you to shop because we know that the best numbers are out there. You can still get a certain number that I'm going to highlight here. You can still get a better one. And that's all this means. Getting a better number. That's all we're telling you here. That's why we keep showing you these plays. But with that said, Oakland is cooked. I mean, let's really look at this. It's not so much of this major Yusei Kikuchi belief because he's there, but Luis Medina, no, sir. No, not for me. Although, I mean, look, the 21 to 9.7, not 9.7 K to walk rate's a little concerning. It gets concerning. It's widely concerning. Guys are hitting Luis Medina. This is a bad pitcher on an overall bad team on the road. On the road. Like, that's a parlay of circumstance right there where you should be jumping on a team's run line. The opposing team's run line. Mind you, that would be the big one. The opposing team's run line. Want a big chunk out of this. Now, for us, on BetMGM, it's -2.5. For you out there, shop it because you can still get -1.5. You can, and I know you will. Speaking of BetMGM, look, for whatever reason, you're not on BetMGM. And look, that's fine. That's fine. Because I think the biggest thing right now is asking that question. Why wouldn't you be on BetMGM? And the reason you're not on BetMGM is because you don't like a commercial, whatever it is. But your first bet is back to you up to $1,000, and you're getting 2 free months of the Odd Shopper Discord. 2 free months of the Odd Shopper Discord. So when I say that, I mean you're getting access to everything. Lindquist, Ben, Isaiah, me, all of us are there. All right? You want a little bigger picture of it? Here it is. Let's brag. You get all of this. 40-1 McCarthy. Whew. This was the other day. June 22nd, just cleared a 40-1 ticket. Okay, join us on the Odd Shopper Discord. You get 2 free months, and you still get your first bet back up to $1,000 on BetMGM, all for just signing up. That's it, all for just signing up. Cincinnati hosting Atlanta. The new Coors Field. I mean, this game is just this series. Does it really matter at the time? We don't have a starter for Cincinnati. Does it really matter at this point? There isn't anybody that isn't slated to start that will start that's going to slow this team down. On the other side, you have to ask yourself, what's going to happen first? Cincinnati gets to Charlie Morton, or Charlie Morton rides that 26.2 K rate? It's probably going to be the opposite, or the latter, the former. What did we say? The former. Unbelievable. It's probably going to be the former. Look, this one is going to be super difficult for, I think, and everybody on this team to out-hit opposing pitching. So Atlanta right now has Charlie Morton, where at least there's some stability in this. There's some to the point where you don't need to pull the guy if he gives up 3 runs in the first inning, something along those lines. Cincinnati, especially going with a bullpen start, that's not going to last long. We'll see who gets the day off. I think this is definitely one to monitor. See who gets the day off. All right? Right now, we lean. It's not often you hear this word. We lean Atlanta on the run line. I need to see the starting lineup. Shout out to the news god. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, as you'll know. You will know. That's for sure. All right. Now, just coming back to life, giving you a little opportunity here to jump in. Told you about the Discord, about BetMGM. Can run whatever you want as your first bet. It's up to $1,000. You're going to get it back. It's 21 or older, gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Can we move on, please? Milwaukee at Cleveland. I'm interested. I'm interested in the pitching matchup. I'm interested in Aaron Savali. Because if Aaron Savali comes in with his britches up, his stirrups tight, his hat jacked up, with this 19.992 K to walk rate, thinking that he's got some shit that doesn't stink, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be it's actually 1:40 in the afternoon, but it's going to feel like it's 3 a.m. And it feels like it's 3 a.m. And Aaron Savali's head is just banging. And look, the Brewers have Corbin Burns on the hill. All right. So I'm not going to go into this whole soliloquy about the club and analogy and bullshit. Corbin Burns on the hill. That's the biggest difference right now. Aaron Savali is ripe, prime to fall apart, probably in the first 4 innings, versus Corbin Burns, who 23.5, 8.5 K to walk rate is fine. Everything else is really good. It's tough to hit Corbin Burns. It will be tough for Cleveland to hit Corbin Burns. Pittsburgh, Miami. Oof, I'd love to slip. Just can we move on? Is anybody actually watching this game? Raise your hand if you are actively watching this game. I don't know. Maybe you've got like the sixth leg of a parlay or something up there, but why? Why would you do this to yourself? Makes no sense whatsoever. You're insisting on this. And that's why we'll give you a play, because you'd complain if I didn't give you one. This game is atrocious. This game is ugly. This game has nothing redeemable about it except that we can get in on this pitching matchup. Except that Yuri Perez is back. Johan Oviedo is back. We rode a nice K prop with Oviedo last time, and we're going to do it again, except this time we're not running a K prop. We're running him. Sign me up. This guy right here is sneaky. It's going to be tough for Miami to really hit him consistently. On the other side, Perez, a lot of strikeouts involved in this game. And I think Perez is going to be involved in it as well. In fact, I'm betting as on Perez being a heavy lifter and the one who provides the most strikeout. The play, though, is under. That's the one we do. All right, under 7.5 runs. Voice is flying. It's fleeting. It's leaving me. I told you we shouldn't have wasted our time on this damn game. We move on. Kansas City at Tampa. Now, what can you make of this game? 8.5 total. Heavy favorite for Tampa Bay at home, right? The pitching matchup would scream Tyler Glasnow on one side here versus Daniel Lynch. Just not doing enough right. But if you look at it just alone, Glasnow's, the 30% K rate is legit enough for him to overcome everything else. Everything else is a struggle, except for the fact that this guy just mows people down. Against Kansas City on the road, it's not any easier for the Royals by any means in this matchup. So, what do we have on the other side? Well, here you have Daniel Lynch. 17.5 K rate's not good. He's been okay opposing hitting to contact, limiting some walks, limiting some crushed baseballs. You'd be surprised. Daniel Lynch going to get 4 or 5 good innings in this game. We're going to look back at an under 8.5 and say, man, that was pretty damn smart of Shander jumping in on that. Angels, Rockies, it's in Colorado. We have Trout. We have Ohtani. We have a lot. Do we have a pitching matchup that we can exploit for offense? Survey says Austin Gomber, Tyler Anderson, yes. What are we doing? Are we really going to waste our time on this? Is there really some advanced analytics here that would show you why taking under 12.5 makes a ton of sense? Tyler Anderson, 16.5 to 10K to walk rate. Gomber, 15.4 to 8.5. I mean, seriously, none of these guys pitch well. Neither of these guys pitch well to contact. It's over. The game's over. Offense, 12.5. It's going to be a shootout in epic proportion, and we want a chance here, at least to get in before it hits 13.5. Arizona, taking on San Fran. We keep it moving. As I told you, we're going to rapid fire this sucker as best as we can to give you a little bit of analysis. I know that's a word I probably shouldn't be using, but I'm here. Okay. So we look at now Arizona and San Fran. This one a little different than simply just targeting the pitching, because Anthony Desclafani on the hill, not great, not fantastic. Ryan Nelson, though, I mean, there should be, between Nelson and Desclafani, there should be plenty of offense. Probably is a great wire F5 play when that pops. Should be plenty of offense, should be plenty of scoring opportunities. Where is the advantage here? Is it at home for San Francisco with the guy in Desclafani who, if he settles in, all of a sudden this becomes stretch of a game for Arizona to win? DeSclafani gets in an early groove right here. He's going to get a little run support. It's going to make it really tough for Nelson or anybody in the bullpen to come in without something going extremely wrong in that fifth, sixth, or even seventh inning for San Fran. I'm willing to risk it. -1.5 on the run line. Sign me up. San Diego hosting the Nationals. This one's tricky. +165. The Nats are dangerous. We know the Nats are dangerous. But still at +165, it's not worth it for me. I would need that 185, 190. You give me a shot there. Okay. Run line doesn't do me any better because I'm not necessarily sure that there is a difference between 1 or 8 in this game. Nationals lose. It could be either of those scenarios, and neither would shock me. So what needs to happen here? Somebody on Washington needs to step in and slow San Diego's big bats down. Is that going to be Gore? Is that going to be Mackenzie Gore? The one thing you can look at here is he has nearly a 28% K rate. 28%. If he's working off the strikeout, doesn't have to strike everybody out, but if he's working off that, if he has a couple of pitches grooving here, and he's able to just work off at least one in an inning, you get that spike and maybe get 2 in an inning. This is beyond possible. By the way, Washington going up against Seth Lugo, probably not the greatest matchup ever for Lugo, but still enough that I think he can limit. And ultimately, this comes down to Mackenzie Gore getting a couple of Ks, living up to that K rate, limiting San Diego's damage. Doesn't mean that guys won't get on the bag or touch first or even second, but it's limiting that damage. All right, last here, Sunday Night Baseball. Boy, you got a couple of different options. I think Houston is in play. Absolutely, Houston is in play as the dog. The other option we have is looking at Tony Gonsolin and saying, okay, is this guy just, because we already have Houston as an option, does he have anything that you would second guess? What about Hunter Brown? How realistic is the Dodgers winning this game at -140? Just on the pitching matchup alone, I think you look at this game Sunday night and you say, all right, give me Houston. If you were to go elsewhere, if you were looking at a more, like if you just said, hey, I don't want to pick a side here, don't really know what can happen with this Dodgers lineup. Hunter Brown's pretty good, but, you know, ultimately you get a run or two there. That can be the difference. That's fine. The other play is under 8. Either way, actually, that's over 8. You know what? I take it back. It is. Here we go. It's going to be over 8.5. There you go. There you go. I knew that we were missing something. We're going to push that. That's all. Just push it. There's your last one, over 8.5. All right. Simple stuff. Told you about the Discord. Told you about BetMGM because it's the same thing. All right. So please, 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 please come hang with us. That's all we ask you. Thumbs up, subscribe. Lindy's got you for the week. I have you next week. July 4th around the corner. Some good baseball coming up. Enjoy London.